Oh,
Okay, there we go.
perfect.
Now we're back.
Am I still there? Can you still see me?
Now I can't see you.
You
Now you went
can't?
off. Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
there you go. Now you're back. Oh, now you're
oh,
back.
and I'm
Oh,
back.
that's what happened. We had to share some screen stuff. Okay, now it's all
Damn,
good.
damn. My thing was frozen for so long. But yeah, man, it's there's a lot to when it comes to Tulsi, going back to what you said, Tulsi and RFK and everything. I genuinely think it seems, and this is the thing, right? They're all politicians, right? So for the longest time, before all of this stuff, before MAGA and 2016 and all this stuff, we were always taught we can't trust politicians. Everybody was,
Yeah.
right? So you can go with that mindset. I've researched her a lot. I've looked into the bad of her. I've called her out. Her team actually contacted me when I made that video that I was talking about. And they actually were trying to like explain away some things. And I was like, I don't really care. I made a video, it doesn't matter. Cause like by the time I make a video, I've already made 5 other videos and I forget what I even did. But she seems genuine, if you're going to go on the fact of, she seems very genuine. Joe, your boy Joe, he loves her. He loves her. Like if she was president, this guy would cry a tear. He would be like this. Like he'd be so happy, right? That says a lot to me. The fact that she left the Democratic Party, she's calling them out, that says a lot. The fact that she's endorsing Trump now at a time where that is not a popular thing to do. It is just not. She's already got put on a domestic terrorist watch list. She's probably going to get accused of being a Russian asset again. She's going to get attacked from all sides. She's never going to be able to go back to the Democratic Party. She'll probably never be able to hold any office unless, Trump or Vivek or some person ends up bringing her on as a VP, or she runs for president as an independent, maybe as a Republican. So it seems like the things she's done are not in favor. But if you want to play 5G chess, then it's like maybe all of this is just a ruse to trick everybody, So I understand all the layers that are possible, but I tend to trust her a little bit. When it comes to RFK, though, I did not trust RFK at first at all. And it wasn't because he was a Kennedy. I think the Kennedys are wild boys. JFK and RFK Sr., they're wild boys. They're giving the middle finger to the mafia.
Yeah, and they got their heads blown off.
Exactly.
So you would think if anybody was anti-CIA, it would be RFK Jr. You know what I mean? Like people are, oh, he's a Kennedy. They're part of the establishment. I'm like, yo, his dad and his uncle got their heads blown off.
Yeah.
You don't think he has some skin in the game?
That exactly right. And then when you hear him talk, it seems very genuine. He's calling out BlackRock. He's calling out the housing industry. He's calling out central digital bank currencies, whatever it is. He's calling out all this stuff. And then at the end of it all, when he can just keep on keeping on and take away votes from Trump, he says, I'm pulling out of the race because I don't want to take votes away from Trump. And I want to help Trump get into this position. And then at the end of it, it's like, I just want to save millions of children's lives. It's like, it's hard not to trust that guy. He seems genuine to me. That's just me.
What about Elon?
But then when it comes to Elon wants to put chips in everybody's brain. And I think that's the mark of the beast. I'm going to be honest with you.
Maybe that's what he was into before. But
now
he's awakening, because now when he interviewed Trump, he was saying, I don't want to demonize fossil fuel. I'm like, oh, look at him. He doesn't want to demonize fossil fuel. It seems like, when people, when you have your show and I have my show and all these guys that are red-pilled are trying to awaken people, that's our goal. We're trying to awaken people. We post facts, post a video, trying to awaken people. And what people don't understand, a lot of people that are that are awakening people, it's like once they awaken, dude, they're awakening to like one layer, like whether it was the scamdemic or whatever. You're awakening to one fucking layer. There's 1,000 layers that they got to come back to. So you got to give them time, like 8-10 years to fully awaken, because there's so much. So you awaken someone. Can you imagine awakening someone and then talking shit on them for what they said 2 years ago? Like, do you just awaken them? It worked. You awaken them. Now you're going to talk on what they said 5 years ago. They weren't awake back then. Let them catch up and reassess all the shit. You got to go back and reassess all that because there's a lot of people that are awakened. Like even Joe. Joe's awakened. He is, and the scamdemic did it. But then he'll say stuff like, Trump is this, Trump is like all the negative shit you heard about Trump. That's the media that you're talking shit on. Everybody loved Trump. Trump has always been like, I always knew Trump was like some rich dude who's banging models, and he's like, he loves his country and he does good shit for people. He was always like he was always helping people. This guy,
bro, donated money to Joe Scarborough and his wife when their daughter needed it.
Yeah. And then, when you listen to what Mike Tyson says about Trump and when you listen to what Herschel Walker says, like these black people, like they love him. Yeah. And they're like, he's racist? Like, what means? How is he racist? And it's like, because he said, we got criminals coming through the border illegally. Of course we do. You can't just let anybody through the border unvetted. Like common sense. You got to vet people. And
no, he's been on point with everything he said.
At this point, when it comes to Elon and when it comes to, I know he's like doing SpaceX, I think he's awakening and I think he's going back. Like he's like what he said to Trump. He's like, I don't want to demonize fossil fuels. Like, oh, look at you. So he's like, he's not all about anti-fossil fuel no more. He's in the process of fully awakening. I really believe that. And at this point, like today, Elon backing Trump, Tulsi backing Trump, RFK backing. I gotta go full blown with that. I'm with that. Because what's the other choice?
Yeah, that's the whole thing.
We know the other side are demons. We know that. That's 1,000,000%. Now the Trump side, the Tulsi side, the Elon Musk side, it's not 100%. There could be some kind of trick that we're not getting right now. We're not piecing it together. Maybe they just want to cause civil war and maybe they give the right the truth on the left so that we fight and then the great reset is complete. Maybe that's the overall game. Maybe that's long game. It's like, the Republicans, right now they have all the dirt on the liberals, and the liberals are way more corrupt than the Republicans. Republicans are corrupt, but it's way easier to corrupt the liberal than it is a conservative because generally conservatives got a little Jesus on them. Their family values, Constitution. It's harder to corrupt Republicans, although they're easily corruptible too, but not as easy as the liberals. The liberals are like, it's so easy to corrupt. I mean,
tolerance. Yeah. Tolerance. Once you have too much tolerance, you're very easy to corrupt.
So I get it. It's not the Republicans and the Democrats, they're both corrupted, but it's not even. It's like, oh my God, it's dead even. The liberals are way more corrupt than the Republicans. It's not even. It's not like, oh my God, it's a tie. It's not a tie. It's not a tie. It's way easier to corrupt the liberals than it is Republicans.
The liberals are moving towards communism. And it's funny because I heard Dave Smith and he's like, Kamala Harris is not a communist. She's not a Marxist. And he was talking about how dumb that is. And I'm like, I thought this guy was smart politically, honestly.
Who, Dave Smith?
But, yeah, he said that. And I was like,
saying what?
He's saying she's not a Marxist. She's not even close to a communist. He goes, it's just language. She's just using Marxist socialist language. That's all it is.
You know what? I could respect that. I respect that.
But it's not. But you can't respect it because
she's so dumb. She doesn't even know what I don't even think she knows what Marxism is.
Her father is a Marxist. This is confirmed too. A lot of people keep saying that it's alleged. The guy's name is funny enough, Donald J. Harris against Donald J. Trump. But his name's Donald J. Harris. He was an economic Marxist. I actually had one of his papers. See, I wish I had that to pull up, but there's one of his papers. It's a PhD. Sorry, it's not a PDF. So with a PDF, when you're on the internet, you press Control F, so you can find any word. I type in the word Marx for Karl Marx, bro. The word Marx, the name Marx comes up like 257 times. This guy's whole work of this book that he wrote was based on Karl Marx. Karl Marx he is the Marxist. He's the person who was named Marx. He's the guy who started this whole thing. Her father was deep into that guy's work and was expanding on it and was trying to teach it in universities. So to think that she doesn't actually know, even if she's dumb, the dumbest people, if their dads are lawyers and they're around their dads all the time, they're going to know a little something. Yeah. They're not going to know just nothing. You know what I mean? So she knows what Marxism is. She knows when she says we need equity because we need everyone to end up in the same place. A lot of people don't understand that's a direct quote from Marx. She's changing it a little bit, but that's exactly what Marx said. And she said it repeatedly. So it's not just that she's using language. She's quoting Marx. And then she's bringing up price controls as her way of helping the country. Cuba tried price controls. Look where Cuba is and look what Cuba is. Communist. Venezuela tried price controls. Soviet Union tried price controls. All of these communist socialist places tried price controls. And what happens? Exactly what happened with Venezuela. Venezuela started price controls in 2014. By 2017, inflation was up 800% and they were a failed nation. It took 2 years. That's all it took. And she's talking about the exact same thing. So yeah, she's a little dumb. She's a little airheaded. But the fact that she's saying all of these things that are directly from Marx, her dad was a Marxist, and then people are like, she's not a Marxist. That's insane. That's insane.
Yeah. You got me, dog. You got me.
That's like my dad. That's like my dad's a pastor.
All I knew he was Jamaican. That's it. I knew he was Jamaican. That's it.
Yeah. But he was a professor. He was an actual Marxist. He was very much into that world.
Oh, she was
yeah,
she's like a Manchurian candidate. She like Obama. Obama was perfect because Obama.
She's Obama Hillary Clinton. That's what she is.
Damn.
That's exactly what she is.
Damn.
She's colored. She's having the whole thing about I worked at McDonald's and yes we can and when we fight we win. And then she's walking around like Hillary Clinton, laughing like a maniac. She's Hillary Clinton and Obama put together.
Damn.
That's exactly what she is.
Wow.
She is not to be trusted.
I thought she was too dumb to be a Marxist. That's what I thought. I didn't know her dad was like so bald.
Listen. I'm of the notion. Okay, this is just my thought. If you're living in America in 2014 and you think Marxism, socialism, and communism is a good idea to even touch on briefly in this society, you are dumb.
Yeah.
You're not intelligent or you're evil. It's one of the two. And that's the thing with Karl Marx. Karl Marx said he needs all things to collapse, all structures, all sources of government to collapse in order for him and his ideology to rise as the creator. And what does Kamala Harris back? She backs defunding the police. She backs an open border, things that will actually destabilize and actually bring down certain parts of government. And, I'll throw the police in there, police departments as a part of government. She tried to actually tear them down. She said she wanted to rethink them. We have to rethink police forces. It's crazy. The things she's done. And then also she was she was backing, and she actually put a Twitter post about some foundation that was actually helping to bail out the people who were doing the BLM rioting.
Yeah.
And a bunch of people who were criminals got bailed out because of her. She's terrible. And then on the other side, when people think, how is she this leftist? She was a hard prosecutor. All she was doing was breaking up black families in California. That's all she was doing. 1,500 men. They probably weren't all black. It's probably some Hispanic, some white, how LA is, how California is. But still, she was breaking up families. That's another thing that communists want to do. They want to make the family unit, the nuclear family unit, they need to destabilize it. And that's what she was doing. If you look throughout her career, you can see these hints of Marxism. You can see these hints, and she's moving towards it faster and faster since she's ran for president. It's gross. I don't like Kamala Harris.
Yeah. So that's exactly what I meant by, at this point, I don't know if Elon's a trick. I don't know if Tulsi's a trick. I don't know if RFK Jr.'s a trick. but they're all banding together against the Biden regime. I'm with that. I'm willing to, because we know 1,000,000% the one side are demons, and we know 50-50 the other side could be some kind of long game trick. But I'm going to go with the 50-50 over the 1,000%, 100%.
100%, 100%. Because when you look at it, it's like, who in their right minds, and I guess there are some people, when it comes to the voting, but who really looks at what Biden and Harris have done and think these are the good guys?
Imagine we're being brainwashed into thinking that the Biden regime, the people, it's not really them, it's like the people controlling them. They're really Biden's just a puppet. He's on the beach, he's past that, he don't know shit. But to think that there's a chance that we're being brainwashed, and it turns out Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer are actually good people. Like,
they're the good guys.
Can you imagine? We've been tricked.
Nancy Pelosi.
Jerry Nadler is a good guy.
When she makes $100 million insider trading, man, she just sends it all to charity. What do you mean?
What if she, like, I don't have millions of dollars. Everyone thinks I'm a multi-millionaire. What if she makes like $80K a year, and we're being brainwashed into thinking she has like $400 million in assets and shit.
Listen.
It's possible that she's actually a good, like, Nancy Pelosi is actually, we've been brainwashed. Can you imagine if she's actually a good person? What if she's good?
Man. People have been following her stock trades for way too long, man. It's confirmed by multiple people who are following her trades that she does better than Warren Buffett and Bill Gates combined.
And then it turns out her father has mad mob ties, and it makes sense. Like the mob. Like, it's a good move. Like, if you're in the mob, get your kids into politics and put them into the police. Put them into law enforcement. So
of course
you got some people on the inside working for you. You know what I mean?
Of course.
They make them lawyers. Like, you want your kids to be lawyers, cops, politicians. Like, that would be, if I was a mobster.
That's what you want.
I'd be like, you guys are lawyers, dog. Politicians get into city government, just in case I get busted.
They say Gavin Newsom is her nephew.
Yeah. I'm like, it all makes sense, right?
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah,
but yeah, man, I agree with you. I think people should be trusting that side of things. The whole thing with Elon Musk is the brain chips. I don't like the brain chips. But everything else that I'm seeing this guy do, other than wearing that Satan suit and that one Halloween, everything else I see this guy do, it's pretty trustworthy. And again, you do have to leave room, especially for myself as a Christian, you have to leave room that people actually are able to wake up to the bad that they're doing or the bad that they're involved with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe Elon was into brain chips, because it seems like he's just like the figurehead of SpaceX. Like, he really, the guy still thinks we're going to Mars. Either he is in the know with the Illuminati, and or he's just a figurehead and he actually believes we can get to Mars. Like, maybe he really believes that. You know what I mean? Maybe the brain chip thing was just him being the head of this company with this idea, and they're like, Elon, we're going to be able to put brain chips in people's heads, and we're going to be able to take quadriplegics and have them do this. So we're going to take super sick people and have them do that with the brain chip. Maybe he's on that brain chip thing, and maybe he's not on or maybe he's awakening going, fuck. Maybe he's like, yo, we didn't go to the moon. Because if Elon still thinks we went to the moon, that's a problem. You know what I mean? The whole thing where he launched Tesla into space, it's on a 1 billion year orbit around the sun. You know what I mean? And the first thing he said,
really,
press conference. You missed that? Where he
I know that there's something.
They launched the car. Remember that from like 5 years ago? He launched.
But he said it's gonna orbit for 1 billion years.
It's on a 1 billion year orbit around the sun. Can you imagine even coming to that conclusion? Where did you get that information from? Like, how did you come to that conclusion? It's on a 1 billion year orbit around the car. His car. car, his Tesla that they launched into space. And you've seen the video of it. Like, there's video that's like,
Yeah, I've seen it sitting
that's a
there.
green screen, dog. It's like, come on, you think that's fucking real? You think that's real? And the first thing he says, the very first thing he says in the press conference, once they launched his Tesla into fucking orbit, the first they go, Elon, press conference, Elon,
Yeah.
how do you feel about your Tesla in space? Like, how crazy is that? And how long are we going to be able to keep in contact with it? And the first thing he says, he goes, well, I think it's ridiculous and impossible. And, you know, if we were going to do something fake, we would make it way faker. What did he say? It's like, if it was, you could tell it's real because it looks so fake. That's what he said.
Oh.
You could tell it's real because it looks so
The
fake.
next question from Marsha Dunn at Associated Press.
March at NAP. What was going through your mind? How amazed were you to see your roadster up there with Starman just cruising along with the Blue Planet? And how long will we be getting live views, do you think, from the car?
Well, I think it looks so ridiculous and impossible. And you can tell it's real because it looks so fake, honestly. Like, we'd have way better CGI if it was fake. And, you know, the colors all look kind of weird in space. There's no atmospheric occlusion. You know, like, everything looks too crisp. But we know we didn't really test any of those materials for, you know, is it space hardened or whatever, you know. So it just has the same seats that like a normal car has. It's just literally a normal car in space, which I kind of like the absurdity of that. And if you look closely, on the dashboard, there's a tiny roadster with a tiny spaceman. So, because Hot Wheels made a Hot Wheels roadster, and a friend of mine suggested, hey, why don't you put that Hot Wheels roadster with a tiny spaceman on in the car too? I'm like, that'd be cool. Sure. So we did that. I mean, it's kind of silly and fun, but I think that's, you know, silly, fun things are important. And normally for a new rocket, you know, they'd launch like a block of concrete or something like that. I mean, that's so boring. And I think that's just the imagery of it is something that's going to get people excited around the world.
That's the first thing
There you go.
the first statements he said in the press conference. So at that point, maybe he knew it was a hoax and it was like, you know what, it'd be a good promotion. You know, we pretend we launch your car, we sell your car, you got to do this for us. And he's like, okay, what? It's not gonna hurt nobody. Okay, I don't know. I need him to do some splaining to me.
Have you ever got to meet him or what?
No.
No, Joe keeps Elon away from you. Joe's like, there's no chance I'm letting Eddie Bravo meet Elon Musk.
Hey, listen, I want to believe that he's awakening, and I want to believe that, hey, maybe Joe is part of awakening him, you know, because they're buddies, and Joe's in the process of awakening, you know what I mean? 5 years ago, Joe wasn't where he is now, you know.
Definitely not.
It took all that they were doing to him in the media and all the smear campaigns. Then he fucking awake, and then he's like, "Oh, this is legit stuff."
Yeah,
so,
yeah. I think they are trustworthy. I think Trump is also trustworthy. I mean, the guy takes a shot. The guy loses money every time he runs for president. The guy, you know, doesn't take a salary. The economy actually was better when he was president. You know, there was a lot of things happening for black and brown people throughout the country. He made sure there was no war. I think like what he did, you know, the one thing that people don't like is that he did Operation Warp Speed. But if aside from all of that, he handled his presidency very well, very well. And we will look back, especially in regards to war, we will look back and realize that out of him, Obama, George Bush Jr., Clinton, Biden, we will look and see that he was the best president.
Trump, greatest president of all time.
Yeah.
Who's got bigger balls than that guy? They gave that guy everybody. Russian agent. Back in the day, you if it was rumored you were a Russian agent, you're fucked. Guantanamo Bay. So they gave him Russia. They gave him rape allegations. They gave him racism. He was not racist. He's not racist. He's the furthest thing from racist. He just calls it out the way there. I'm Mexican. I know MS-13 coming through the border. I know that. Vet those motherfuckers. You know what I mean?
Of course.
You know? So, as far as Operation Warp Speed, have you heard the theory on what that could have been all about? Because he was anti-vax. Did you know that?
Well, I didn't know that, but after the conversation with him and RFK got leaked by RFK's son, he was talking like somebody that was very anti, because in the conversation that was leaked, I don't know if you saw it, but he called RFK right after his assassination attempt. And he was just talking about, he's like, kids used to get, just a few of them in their lifetime. He goes, now they get hundreds of these. He's like, it's just too much. He's like, and I don't understand it. And I don't like what I'm seeing. And it would be really good for you. He was talking about getting RFK in charge of looking after stuff like that and really digging deep into it. So he was talking like somebody that was anti, definitely.
Yeah. So what's next for you as far as your podcast? What's the latest you're looking into?
Oh, I mean, right now it's like, it's an election cycle, right? So it's like real focused in. The thing is, also, I have two channels, right? I have the channel where I'm focusing on a lot of Rogan and Tucker Carlson content, and then I'm expanding on that and doing little reports on the things they talk about. But then on the other channel, I'm talking about just straight news, just straight up, like the stuff that I want to touch on. There's some things Joe doesn't want to talk about. There's something Tucker Carlson doesn't want to talk about. So I talk about it on that second channel that I have. I call that one Coach Colin Media. So I'm working out the two channels right now, but it's an election cycle. Everything's touching on the election, and it's funny because I watch Joe so much. He's trying to stay away from election talk, especially what happened with RFK. He's like trying to stay away from that stuff right now. But that's where
it's interesting that you notice that.
Oh, bro, I don't know him obviously, but I focus in. I can see like when I saw you two, because I've watched for years. So the way that it was years ago and the way that it is now, when you bring stuff up, I'm like, oh, this is a clear difference. So I noticed a lot of things, but he's trying to stay away from it because of what happened with RFK. You want to, shots get fired. All of a sudden Trump is calling you out on Twitter. And it's just like, obviously he just wants to step back, talk to a philosopher, talk to Russell Crowe, have a nice time. That's what he should do. Have a good time. Why not? But the main focus right now is the election cycle, and what's next. I have a show idea that I want to start doing. We're going to be probably traveling the USA. I want to go to every single state, and we're going to be having some conversations that way. But also, I just want to start doing it live. I just want to start doing the podcast live. I want to start streaming. I want to start doing it live on stage. And actually, this is my idea. This is what I want. I want to do it live on stage. And then I want to have a town hall type of meeting where the people in the audience get to talk about the issues that are going on within that neighborhood, within that place, what they feel about politics, what they feel about the candidates, what they feel about the economy, what's going on with them. I want to start making it like that. I want it to be a stand-up show, my podcast, and then like a town hall thing. Just all.
Do you get a lot of heat from black people?
Yeah, bro. I've sounded like I'm white forever, so black people have not.
They call you Uncle Tom and all that.
Yeah, Uncle Tom. I remember when my first video I put out, somebody said, you're Candace Owens ripoff. You're just a Candace Owens ripoff.
Meanwhile, Candace Owens is like one of the greatest human beings that's ever lived.
She's not playing around.
That chick has the biggest balls of all. Candace, Candace fucking Owens, she crushes. You don't want to get in a fucking debate with her if you're a libtard.
Yeah.
She'll
No,
fuck
never.
you up.
I would never accept a debate with her. Never.
She's the greatest. I mean, I would vote for her as president. If she ran for president, I'd trust her. I trust Candace. Candace Owens is amazing, man. I have tremendous.
She's.
For her. I mean,
but yeah, I get a lot of flack from black people, obviously, especially when I talk about the black community, because I'm not a fan of it. And honestly, I don't come from the black community. I grew up in an Orthodox Jewish neighborhood. Okay, so the black people who were around.
Zionist.
Yeah, right. I grew up, but the thing is, the one thing I take from there, because I experienced a lot of racism and all sorts of stuff, but I also experienced a lot of good people. But the thing that I take away from that community is that if the black community would just suck it up and act like that community for a little while, invest in each other, stick together, if they would just do that for just a generation, it would dramatically change black people's situation. Yeah. Like Jewish people, well, the demon elite, they do what the Netanyahu and all that. The demon elite, they do what they do, whether it's black, white, Jewish. But what Jewish people do, the regular people, they take care of each other on a different level. Kind of like you're Mexican, no?
Yes.
Yeah, kind of like Mexicans. It's a lot like you would see with Mexicans. Mexicans tend to take care of each other. If they're family, they're real family.
You don't see too many homeless Mexicans.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Bring you in. They'll put 50 people in a house.
Exactly. You don't see homeless Jewish. You don't see that stuff, man. They really take care of each other on another level. So, that's the main thing I get the most flack for talking about.
You know what I love seeing? I love seeing black people interviewing other black people and trying to open their eyes to.
Yeah.
I love seeing that because it just seems like the Democratic Party has just hypnotized the black community for decades.
It's a spell, man. It's a spell that they've incentivized them to be in this state of depravity and not taking care of their kids. It's a whole thing that was kind of done. They were incentivized. The women were incentivized to not be with the men back in the 60s. You would get money if you had a kid and you weren't with your husband. If you could prove you weren't with the husband, you would get money. And then the men got to just f*** off and go do whatever they wanted to do. It was this whole thing that they actually set up. And then you throw drugs in the mix. And then it was easy to just separate them. Because what's the strongest thing? The strongest thing is the family unit.
Yep.
If a family's together, if the husband is taking care of the wife and the wife's taking care of the kids, and the husband is connected to God, there's nothing, the state can't come and tell that unit anything. They say, if it's against my husband's will, I'm not going to do it. If it's against my parents' will, I'm not going to do it. And the husband says, if it's against God's will, I'm not going to do it. That's the strongest thing. So they want to break that up at all costs. Yeah. Because now what you see, what they did to black people back then, they're doing to everybody now.
Yeah.
They're doing it to white people. They're doing it to Mexico. They don't give a
It's all, the whole divide and conquer thing. There's so many ways you could divide people.
Of course.
So many, like any good idea that will divide people, they green light all that shit. Like,
of course.
How about sex in movies? They go, yeah, that's going to make men want to cheat. Yes, green light.
Yeah.
What about feminism? Yes, that's going to make the woman think she's trapped raising her kids. Because when I was growing up, if a girl got pregnant, her life was over. Like, you're never going to be able to go to the parties, and all your friends are going to go to clubs without you. And you're like, oh my God, I'm having a baby, and they're not going to want to go to parties with me no more. They had everybody thinking that if you had a kid, that it was over. It's the worst thing. Having a kid your life is over. Yeah, they got everyone believing that. And think about this. You know how the CIA and Mossad, they fund and finance and create like Al Qaeda, Taliban, and all that. You know that? Why do they do that? Why do they fund them? Because they want the boogeyman. They want the bad guy, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Of course.
Dude, I'm starting to think, dude. I'm starting to think like KKK and neo-Nazis and all that are also funded by intelligence. That's what I'm thinking, right?
Well, I
I'm
mean,
thinking like they're always talking about white supremacy being like the biggest problem, and like where is this white supremacy at? Is it like it? I don't know. Is the KKK? Is that like some kind of psyop funded by? They take a bunch of crazy poor white kids and get them. Oh yeah, black people are the problem. Let's fight against black people. You know what I mean? It's almost like Al Qaeda, because I don't know, man. I'm starting to think that like where is this white supremacy? Is like why are people killing themselves to come into this country if white supremacy is like the problem? Where is this white supremacy at? It doesn't seem like, because you can talk about white people all you want, you're not going to get any repercussions. You could say the worst shit about white people all day on all the networks, and no one's going to come after you. As soon as you say shit about, you know what I'm talking about, all of a sudden you're canceled. Like, who's really running? Who's running shit?
They're the black people of yesteryear. You know, the way that you used to be able to talk about black people, you know, way back 60s, 70s, you know, you could just it was acceptable to call them or whatever back then, and you were able to buck break them. You were able to knock the cocky ones down. That's exactly what they're doing to white guys today. If a white guy's too cocky, he's misogynistic, he's too aggressive, he's this, that, they beat him down until he becomes a soft, liberal, puddle, male feminist type of dude, just eating soy. They do it constantly, man. It's buck breaking. They're doing it to white people in mass. They're going hard on white people.
And you're starting to see the rise of anti-Semitism. White people are fed up with this shit. White people are, like, I know white people, they're like, you know what? This shit. You guys are trying to bury white people. I'm white. You. So you're starting to see like blowback now.
You're starting to see
regular white people is like you.
You're starting to see You're starting to see white people do what black people started to do when they were feeling oppressed by these unknown forces. Everybody was coming. They're starting to feel the same thing. And when it was happening to black people back then, it was very much an agency government thing that was happening. And it's the same thing with white people today. White people are not a problem. They're the people. Well, you know, white men are the people who build up. They could build an America if they want. Yeah. They could assemble. They're a massive group that if they're annoyed enough or mad enough, they could do something. They could do things. You know,
show me the white people that are running everything, that are running white supremacy. Give me their names. Give me a list. Give me their names of these white supremacists. These white supremacists that are running society. Give me a list, and let me see their last names. Let's focus on what their last names. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, like, what are we doing over here?
I'm telling you, it's you know, the white guys. That's why I say it's the only. America is the only place, right? North America, kind of, is the only place where the black people are taught to be ashamed of slavery. The white people are taught to be ashamed of, you know, their ancestors. Everybody is taught to be ashamed. You're taught to be ashamed of being gay. It's this whole victim thing. It's the only place in Africa. There's no shame about slavery, and it's still happening to this day. In Europe, there's no shame about being white at all. Why should there be? There's no shame anywhere else. In this place, they make sure that you are ashamed of what you are. It's a destabilization tactic. It's demoralization, and then it's easier to bring about destabilization.
That's that Yuri Bezmenov shit.
Yes,
demoralized society. Man.
It's a demoralize, destabilize, crisis, normalcy.
I'm gonna be right back.
Normal.
I gotta take another piss.
Do it. Eddie Bravo, ladies and gentlemen, the legendary Eddie Bravo, bringing it like nobody else can. Let me tell you something. On my channel, I do not talk like this. I try to stay to a certain point. I try not to go too deep. But for Eddie, I mean, you can't do that. That's like Snoop Dogg walks up and he's like, "You want to smoke?" And you're like, "Oh, sorry, I don't smoke anymore." No, you say, "Okay." If I was sitting down with Joe Rogan, and Joe's like, "You want to smoke a joint?" I'd be like, "Well, I've been sober for 2 years, but I guess light it. What are you supposed to do? You know what I mean?" So you got to go deep with Eddie Bravo. That's why I brought my tinfoil Speedo. I always wear it because, you know, there's deep waters to go into. It's been a great podcast so far. I want to ask Eddie about Hillbillies. I don't know if you guys have followed Eddie through other podcasts that he's been on, but there was one podcast where he was on and he was talking about hillbillies. And he had this really interesting insight about hillbillies, and it kind of touches on what we're talking about right now. He's right. I can just talk and talk, but it touches on what we're talking about right now because we've been really taught to demonize hillbillies, and he saw it in a completely different way. And ever since, you know, you guys don't know me, I'm working towards having farmland. I'm working towards, you know, one day having my own cattle. I definitely want my own chickens in the very near future. I want to be self-sufficient in that way, especially starting at food and water. I want to have my own, you know? So I want to talk to him about that. I definitely want to know where he's at with the UFOs and all the disclosure stuff because, you know, Joe Rogan, he was just interviewing a guy, and one sentence that the guy said threw me off so much. He's like, "Oh, well, the Pentagon said that I can't say this." And I'm like, "What? What is this? What kind of conversation are we having? Guy from the Pentagon can't," you know what I mean? And then I want to talk about AI as well. So just so you know, that's where the conversation is going to go. And Eddie will obviously detour it wherever he wants to go. And I'll let that happen. But this is a very interesting time. Guys, just so you know, I'm in my spare room right now and used to look up to Eddie Bravo. And now I'm here actually talking with him. You can do it too. Definitely give it a try. I was just talking to the audience about one thing that you brought up, and it touches on what we were just talking about. I heard you on another podcast and I couldn't find the clip and I couldn't remember what podcast it was. And you were talking about hillbillies and you were talking about how we're taught to demonize hillbillies.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in reality,
it makes sense because you want to demonize self-sufficient people, so you call them
yes.
hillbillies. You want
yes.
That's what it is. Because really, what are hillbillies? Hillbillies don't need the government. Hillbillies are out in rural areas, you know, fending for themselves, growing their own food and raising their. That's not good for socialism. That's not good for deep state Illuminati. They don't need those people. So you want to demonize them, and you know, then you're always like, you know, Deliverance. I'm sure you probably heard that clip about me talking about the movie Deliverance, right?
Squeal like a pig, that clip?
Yeah. Oh, dude, they got everybody scared of hillbillies, right? And they got people scared about, you know, being outside of the city. Because when you look at slasher movies, it's always like, can we get back to the city? Can we get back? They're running back to the city. You know, they're out in the woods and there's these crazy people trying to kill them. Jaws, same thing, Jaws. Like Jaws, they want people out of the ocean. It worked on me, man. It worked. I'll never go deep sea diving. Jaws me up. Jaws me up. And I'm gonna sit my son down and I'm gonna do some MK Ultra on my son because the last thing I want my son telling me is, "Hey, Dad, can I go deep sea diving with my friends?" Like, I would say yes, you could, but we're gonna watch Jaws 1, 2, 3, and the one in 3D. Jaws 3 in 3D. And then if you still want to go deep sea diving after that, then. Okay, we're gonna watch Megalodon, and we're gonna watch that. Remember that one movie that came out maybe 10 years ago? It was called like Open Ocean or something like that, where it was about a group of like there was like a boat that took out like 20 scuba divers, and then they're out in the ocean. They go scuba diving, and then they come up, and then they take them off, but they forgot two motherfuckers, and they left them. Did you ever see that one? It's like Ocean Blue. It's called Ocean Blue. And the whole movie is them just floating, going, where did the ship go? They just got left out. And the whole movie is them floating in the middle of the ocean. And little by little, they got nipped at and they got eaten up.
Holy
Watch that motherfucker if you ever think about deep sea diving.
Wow. Well, you know, I always say I sound very, very white, but I have a very black upbringing, so I can't swim at all. There's not at all. I actually have to look.
What do you think that is? Why is there a stereotype that black people can't swim? Like, how does that even make sense?
Well, a lot of them can't. Well, usually, if you're poor, you're in the inner city. So if you're in the inner city, you're not going to get really exposure to swimming. And then the way that the cities are usually set up is that you have to pay to go swimming. And then if you don't have money for that, you're never going to get exposed to it.
Okay.
Then also when it comes to the islands, because my dad, his parents are Cuban, he's Jamaican. My mom's from Barbados. But when you're poor, you're not. Who has the coast? Who owns the coast? Who owns all that oceanfront property?
Yeah, you think people, when people say they live in Hawaii, you think that they live on the beach.
Yeah,
They don't live on the beach, dog.
Exactly.
You could live in Hawaii and never see the beach. You could just
exactly.
I live in LA. People think I'm like at Santa Monica Beach. I go to the beach once a year. I never even see the ocean. So that's right.
That's what
like
I mean.
it's all
That's
the
what I mean.
all the rich people have the coast. Like,
Right?
Yeah,
exactly. So you're never
so
really
you're
swimming.
a Caribbean kid. I mean, you're like Barbados and Jamaica and Cuban. Damn.
Yeah. My dad.
How did you end up in Canada?
Well, my grandparents, they went to Florida like all Cubans do. Because it's so close. Well, they went actually to Jamaica, and then from there they went to Florida, and then now we have them. I think my grandfather's buried in Jamaica, but my grandmother, she's buried in Florida, Orlando. And my dad, he would move around he went from the UK. He actually has somebody could easily take this and create a conspiracy around me, because he was from Jamaica. He went to the UK. He was in the Air Force, then ended up in the United States, then ended up in Canada. And then I think went back to the States, then went back to Canada.
Deep state.
Right? What can you say?
What kind
he was actually like David Goggins. He was a paratrooper jumping out of planes.
Okay, let's see how whitewashed you really are. What is your favorite music? Are you like a hip hop number one, rap number one?
Man, once you learn about what they're doing in the music and the satanic messages that they're putting out, it's hard to. You always want to give in.
All genres of music, though. It is metal and all.
So it's so apparent. Did you hear the hip hop song where the girls are dancing in front of Planned Parenthood and they're singing "Murder on My Mind"?
Damn.
Bro, they're twerking on a car in front of a Planned Parenthood singing "Murder on My Mind." They're rapping about going to get an abortion.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like that, you can't take in hip hop anymore, man. It's gross now. Unless you're going back to like Tribe Called Quest, DOS Effects, and De La Soul. You're going back to that.
All that
time.
positive.
Yeah, exactly. Unless you're going back there, bro. Hip hop is nasty right now. I mean, you got Drake at the top of everything, and the guy's painting his nails all the time, and he has frilly hair and stuff, and it's just like.
So, what kind of music were you? Maybe not now. What kind of music were you into 10 years ago?
Well, 10 years ago, yeah, hip hop.
Mainly hip hop. Okay.
Yeah, but like
you weren't like a metalhead black dude, because every now and then there's a black people into metal. No, not at all. What about grunge? You weren't into Alice in Chains or anything like that?
No, never.
It was all just like Jay-Z.
Yeah, well, and then you have a brother I have a brother who's 12 years older than me, so it's like I was listening. Tribe Called Quest was long gone, but I was still listening to old Tribe Called Quest and old
R&B, and like
I was huge into that when I was a kid. I was huge into R&B.
Yeah. Okay, Aaliyah and all that shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bro, I was actually, before we started the podcast, I was listening to Hook Thieves' Yo Body.
Oh,
I was listening. I'm like cleaning out the dishwasher, and then all of a sudden I look at the video, and I'm like, what is going on right now?
Oh, so was it the first time you ever heard the song?
Yeah, I never heard that song before.
Do you know what Yo Body actually is?
No. What? Like a body double?
No. You know,
Biden obviously has body double.
The song is about Joe Biden. So I'm actually saying Joe Biden.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. Yeah, but I call it Yo Body for security reasons, for safety reasons. So if anything goes down, I'm like, I'm not saying Joe Biden, I'm saying Yo Body. Yo Body.
Let me ask you something.
It's like Joe Brandon, like go Joe, go Brandon.
Let's go Brandon. Let's go
It's
Brandon.
the exact same thing. So the whole song, if you go on, you could the lyrics are all on Apple Music.
Yeah.
If you read the lyrics, it's 100% about Joe Biden and the laptop. The whole thing. I disguised it as Yo Body, and then the music video is all pro Joe Biden. So it's just it's so like the footage of him like jogging with Barack Obama around the White House. I had to put that in. So it's like I wanted to make the music video like culture jamming. You know, Alex Stein, how he pretends he's a liberal. So it's kind of like that, but be so crazy liberal visually that it would actually get liberals to actually play the song and like the song. You know, but meanwhile they're being tricked.
True.
So that's what that song is. Most people don't even get it. They're like, Yo Body, what is that? What are we talking about? Someone's body?
Listen.
No, Yo Body doesn't even make sense. Like Yo Body.
I saw the title and I heard it. And I'm like, it sounds more like Joe Biden. And then I'm looking at the screen. I'm like, oh, there's Joe Biden. I'm like, oh, obviously that's what he's saying. But I thought Yo Body was in reference to body doubles because it's as you play Joe Biden through the years.
Yeah,
he doesn't look like the same guy, right?
It has nothing to do with body doubles. It's just actually Joe Biden.
But listen, you bring up for security reasons, okay? This is what we all want to know in the Joe Rogan community, in the JRE community. Is Joe protecting you when he doesn't let you talk about conspiracies? Is that what's going on?
No.
A lot of people think Joe's like super famous and he's like, I don't want anything to happen to my boy, so I can't let my boy say this stuff on this platform. Is that what's going on? Did he ever give you a talk like, hey, listen?
No.
Listen, the Illuminati chief came to me.
No.
And he said either Eddie has to join or he doesn't get to keep saying this stuff.
He's not trying to protect me at all.
All right.
There's zero protection going on. There's zero protection. I'm at the point now where there's people that are trying to awaken people. I'm done with that. Because if you're still with that Joe Biden shit and the Kamala shit, I don't want to talk to you no more. I'm done waking people up. Now there's a new wave. There's a Candace Owens, like people like you, Russell Brand, all these people. Like you awaken people because people aren't going to listen to me anyways. Like Alex Jones ain't awakening nobody because as soon as people that are asleep. As soon as people that are asleep find out Alex Jones said something, they're not going to believe him. So at this point, the only way you're going to wake people up is with people that are half awake.
Bro. There are so many people. Listen, maybe you're right about the asleep people or completely gone, but there are so many people who want to hear from Eddie Bravo. There's
No.
many.
No. Let me finish. I'm done trying to awaken people. Because if I need to awaken you at this point, dude, you're fucking gone. I have no interest. What I'm here to do is the people that are already awakened, just because you're awakened doesn't mean it's over. Now we got to maintain and always it's evolving and then there's new layers and there's some new and I'm just dealing with people that are awakened and we're still trying to figure out what's going on. Yeah. There's some new today. There's some new tomorrow. There was some new yesterday. It isn't like, okay, you're awakened and it's over. No, it's just the beginning. So I'm here to talk to people that are already awakened and they want to expand and add new layers because there's so many things to be awakened to. It isn't one subject. There's literally 1,000 subjects. And it's always changing and evolving. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to talk to the people that are not and they're already awakened. And I don't want to talk to like people that if you're still asleep, I don't want to talk to you. I'll let Jimmy Dore awaken you. I'll let Bill Maher awaken you. I'll let Candace Owens. Those people, because the people that are still asleep, they'll listen to those people because they're just newly awakened, right?
Yeah.
They'll listen to like that's how powerful they are. People talk on like Jimmy Dore. He still believes that. But people are listening to him. They're not listening to Alex Jones. Alex Jones ain't gonna awaken new people. I'm not gonna awaken new people.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
as soon as they hear it's me or Alex Jones, they go, "Oh, it's Alex Jones." But when they hear Joe Rogan talking about it, when they hear Tulsi Gabbard talking about some new,
Yeah.
those are the only people that awaken the zombies that are still out there roaming the earth. All right, me, I have no interest. I did that by myself. It was me and 3 people. It was me and 3 people awakening people. I'm on Joe Rogan's podcast 85 times, getting ridiculed, getting persecuted, getting beaten down and eviscerated. I'm done with that shit. I'm done. So when I go on Joe Rogan's
Is that what it felt like when you're on there?
Yeah. So when I go on, I'm like, please cut me off. I don't even want to go there. Like you guys are anyways. I could talk about UFC. I could talk about football. I love football. I football. I like football more than the UFC. You know what I mean? So I want to talk about that too. I ain't trying to awaken people. So now on JRE, anytime someone cuts me off or I'm like, thank you. I don't even want to talk about it no more. Because if you need me at this point to awaken you, you're a zombie, and I have no interest in awakening zombies. You know what I mean? I'll leave that to the new wave. I love the new wave of people coming up. I love that. It's your turn. I pass the baton. I'm just dealing with the people that are already awake and that are interested in learning the new shit that's constantly being updated every day. That's who I'm talking to. I'm not talking to people, zombies. Like I don't want to. I have no interest. As soon as my son's balls deep into baseball, and I'm dealing with all these parents. These parents are asleep. I'm not trying to wake. I'm not trying to awaken nobody. I'm like, I put hey, how you doing? How you doing, Mr. Garcia? How you doing, Mr. John?
Okay,
put my earbuds on, and I'm like, I'm watching baseball with the earbuds on. I don't want to talk to nobody. I'm not trying to awaken no. If you have questions, if you have questions and you're on the fence and you're like, and you could tell by the question and by the tone of the question, if you're legitimately on the fence and you're interested in new information, I'm down with that. But if you ask me a question like, well, then why did he do that? Then I'm like, I don't want to convince you of nothing. You stay over there and I'm gonna stay over here. I'm done. Like it's too painful. It's too painful.
Man, yeah, that's true. Yeah, it is.
So when you see me on JRE, I literally go on there going, I ain't talking no more because but if you ask me a question every now and then, Brendan Schaub asks me, he tries to go, I'll talk, but as soon as you interrupt me, I'm like, I'm done. Let's talk about I don't give a shit. I'm like, I'm not, it's not worth it. It's too dangerous to sit out there trying to convince all the zombies. I'm like,
all of us really thought that there was a coordinated type of effort to kind of silence you on the podcast. All of us in the fan base were like, oh, these, because as soon as I made that video, so many people were like, yo, where's Eddie? Why are they like silencing Eddie? Why are they doing that? Like, so many people.
No. I'm silencing myself, man. I'm done.
Okay.
I've said everything. I'm on Joe Rogan's podcast. I say Donald Trump is the greatest president of all time. I said that on Joe Rogan's podcast in front of the whole world. You know what I mean? I've done my shit, so I talked about flat earth. At this point, I swear, you know what? Like, really? Like, I can care less about doing people's podcasts. I'm doing your podcast, you're doing my pod. I can give Michael Plaster set this up. Like, I turned down podcasts, like major big podcasts.
Really?
I turned down major podcasts on the regular, dog. I don't give I don't give a no more. I did my work.
Wow.
I did my work. If you're still asleep, good fucking luck. I'm done. Good luck. I'm done with that. I let all y'all do it. You guys can do it now. You know what I mean? Earth is still flat. Space is still fake. We didn't go to the fucking moon. I'm anti-vax like a motherfucker. You want to take that? Good luck. You know what I mean? I don't believe anything the MSM says. I'm like 100% on the opposite side of Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Adam Schiff. I ain't with that shit. That's all fucking demon type shit. But I'm not going to sit here trying to convince the rest of the zombies anymore. You guys are on your own. I'm here to maintain the people that are already awakened. That's what my podcast is for. I'm not trying to convince nobody. You got some questions? I got some answers. I don't know if they're right or anything, but I'm not trying to convince no more zombies. You guys are on your fucking own. It's 2024, and you guys are still with this. You guys are like when you see on the DNC, when you see like Steve Kerr, you saw Steve Kerr and the was saying on the DM like,
bro, Bill Clinton on stage.
Yeah. That makes sense. Bill Clinton.
Bro, it makes sense.
It makes sense. That guy.
They're pointing at Trump saying, "Oh, he's rapist, this, that," and then they have Bill Clinton.
Yeah,
Bill Clinton's an island boy, bro.
Yeah, but it's pretty. Everybody knows Bill Clinton is like. I mean, he's got a body count. Like that guy's like number one.
He has 2 body counts. He has a body count of chicks he's banged, and he has a different kind of body count.
Yeah, totally. but when you see anytime like any celebrity that was in the DNC talking, damn.
Yeah.
I wonder why. Why? How did they get you up there to say that? Huh?
It's really starting to. Yeah.
Like what do they got on you? God damn it.
Yeah, it's really starting to look like that because before you would think, well, they're just so indoctrinated. Because I've worked in film and television. I see people who get indoctrinated. It happens real quick. But then Epstein stuff comes out. The Diddy stuff comes out. And you're like, oh, this happens politics and like fields of tech and industry. And then it happens in music for and then the music goes hand in hand with Hollywood. So it's like, what do they have on these people?
You see it, man. You see it. It's like, yo, they're like, they look at Trump as if Trump wins, we're so
yeah, why is that?
No matter what, exactly. No matter what, go against Trump. It's like no Kamala, whatever. They could put a chipmunk. They're like, yeah, chipmunk.
Oh yeah, MSNBC Joy Reid. She's like, I'll vote for a corpse. She's like, bring a corpse out. I'll vote for a corpse. Bro, did you hear Quentin Tarantino? He was on Bill Maher's podcast, and this touches on exactly what you were saying. He was like, this is just about winning the effing election. He goes, that's all this is about. We have to win. We have to be the president. We're going to be the president. That's what this is about. Bro, he went on this wild rant. It was so weird. Yeah, it was so weird. He's like, we have to win. This is about winning.
Dude, you would have to think that like all the big giant film producers like Steven Spielberg and Francis Ford Coppola, like all of the big giant motherfuckers, Quentin Tarantino, you would have to think that they would be super pro Biden, super pro Kamala. You would have to think based on like what must have been going on in their careers. Do you know what I mean? How'd you get, like.
Well, I mean, when it comes to Harvey, a lot of people pointed out right at the beginning of that whole thing, the people who came out were just the people that came out. It wasn't everybody. There's certain people who just said, I'm not giving up my career and my status to talk about what this guy did or what I know about this guy.
Thing was super interesting. Like, why'd they let him go down? Like what was the real story? I bet like maybe like Illuminati meetings that were like, you know what, Harvey's just getting too crazy. He's not listening to us. We're going to have to take him down. Maybe he was just a pain in their ass. You know what I mean?
Think about what we were talking about before when you were like, maybe they're brainwashing us and Chuck and Nancy are actually the good people. I was talking with my buddy. I'm like, what if Harvey was at an Illuminati party and he was like, guys, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. We have to be better than this, guys. Yeah. We can just make movies. We can help people. And they were like, oh, this guy's done.
Yeah, totally. Same thing with like Bill Cosby, right? What's the real story with Bill Cosby? Because we know there was like 50 girls or whatever that went against them, right? It seems like the people at the top, they know. Look, I'm doing this. See, they're going to use that. They're going to use
that. That's it. Done deal.
That's it. But it seems like they know that if there's 50 accusers, nobody even looks into it. They don't even look into it. Like if there's 12, they might look into it. But if there's 50, just like the laptop, Hunter Biden's laptop, how many former intelligence officers signed off on it that it was Russian disinformation? 51. So they know, 50. So they need 50, right? So look at Bill Cosby, they're like 50. And then when you look into like a lot of those allegations with Bill Cosby, when you look into a lot of them, it was like some girl from like 1972 that said, "Yeah, Bill Cosby, he gave me a kiss on my ear, or he kissed my neck," or like there's a bunch of them. They're like, man, these aren't really allegations, but no one looks into it. They just think, oh, 51 girls.
It's a spectacle. Once you're saying 50 of anything, it becomes a spectacle.
Yeah,
it's
no
like,
one even looks into it. It's like guilty. It's guilty.
Yeah, exactly.
Guilty.
If there's that many, obviously this guy's guilty.
Yeah.
50
I'm not-
people
yeah,
would
listen.
come together and collude like that. That would never happen. So
Yeah, I'm not saying Bill Cosby isn't a piece of shit. Maybe he
of
did
course.
drug these girls, but I bet a lot of motherfuckers did that, and they threw him under the bus because maybe like wasn't he was trying to buy like NBC or something like that. And look at like Prince. They went after Prince. Prince was talking the truth, but I would say Prince probably in the beginning was involved in a lot of parties and you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
But then maybe he saw the light and then he saw that he was getting fucked. So they go, let's get when it comes to rock stars, it like the people that own the music business, they know that rock stars are worth way more when they die in their prime instead of dying when they already sold out and started making like stupid fucking albums. You know, at that point, but when like Kurt Cobain, when that motherfucker died, he died in his prime, and that guy will live on forever as a legend. You know what I mean?
Of course.
So, like what really happened with Michael Jackson? You know what I mean? What really happened there? It just seems like
there's actually somebody who's young who passed away. His name was XXXTentacion, and he was an incredible musician, and they took him out at 20 years old.
Yep.
And days before, he was in an interview and he was saying, he's like, a lot of what these guys do in the industry is they use frequency to mess with people's minds. He's like, you can make someone depressed with frequency. He's like, you can make somebody really happy with frequency. And he was talking about all this stuff about like what people do in the music industry. And then he just randomly got robbed in Florida and got shot in the chest. So instead of robbing him, they just shot him and killed him. But he was an amazing musician. He was talking a lot of truth. And it's just interesting how I'm sure you don't even know. There's a whole theory. Every young artist right now, there's at least there's probably 10 of them. They all, when they first get signed, they get this ring. And this ring is a big star. It's like a big gaudy star. It's like huge. It's a big star, right? And every single one of these guys that gets this ring ends up dying. Every single one ends up getting murdered. And it's exactly like you said. It's actually more than what you said. The labels actually take out a life insurance policy on these artists.
Yeah.
So they get paid from that, and then they get paid from the guy's music. And now with AI, all day you can get paid.
Did you ever see that movie? The only movie Andrew Dice Clay starred in was the stars called Ford Fairlane. Have you ever seen it?
Ford Fairlane?
Dude. It came out like in 1991. Watch the movie Ford Fairlane starring Andrew Dice Clay. He plays a detective that's looking into the murder of a rock star. And then he finds out that the label killed him for the exact same reasons we're talking about. And then he never made another movie after that. That was the end of Andrew Dice Clay's movie career. It was the beginning. It was the beginning because he was such a big comedian, first comedian to sell out Madison Square Garden. He was doing arenas, and they're like, Andrew Dice Clay was big. So they gave him a movie. He made a movie called Ford Fairlane, and then they unplugged him.
Really?
Ford Fairlane, dude. It's a great movie, man.
There's a lot of speculation around Jimi Hendrix that same way. My wife and I, we did an episode on it where we were talking about how he was found with a gross amount of alcohol like poured down his throat. Like it was so much that it had to have been like forced down. Yeah. There's like a bunch of stuff to his death.
Have you looked into Kurt Cobain's death?
That I looked into when I was younger. I haven't looked into it since I actually know how to research stuff. But that was like back in the day, YouTube. Courtney, what's her name? Courtney Cox, is that her name? Courtney Love. Yeah, it was an odd one. Definitely with the shots and everything, how it went down. especially with what he was talking about. And those guys they seemed like they didn't give a fuck about anything. Those guys seemed
Who's those
really
guys? What do you mean? What guys?
like Nirvana.
Oh.
Like those guys seemed like unplugged. Like it didn't seem like they could be controlled really, from the way that they would be on stage, from the way that they would be at award shows. They seemed like they were a problem, or they could have been a problem.
They were perfect for the Illuminati. They were perfect. They were suicidal, depressed, on drugs, on heroin. They were perfect, man.
Have you heard of the Laurel Canyon stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff. Stuff actually.
David McGowan. That's like.
Yeah.
That's some of the most fascinating that I've ever come across.
That stuff hasn't stopped actually. If you look into slowly, like I've only looked into a few people, but Martin Lawrence was born in Germany.
Had no idea.
J. Cole, he's a really big rapper. He was born in Germany in the same place. It was army bases. They're actually born in army bases. It's very interesting. There's a lot of guys in hip hop who have the same type of military connection. Yeah.
With the Laurel Canyon.
Yeah. It's so I bring that up because it seems like it didn't stop. Like Laurel Canyon is really focused in on rock and roll, but I think it kept going into hip hop. As you look into who it is, it's very interesting.
Diddy, all the he did, all the blackmail that he's allegedly being accused of, like blackmailing basically everybody in R&B and hip hop on the East Coast. Anyways, he's just one dude. Every musical genre got that dude that's blackmailing people. For sure. It's in every genre. It's in grunge. It's in metal. It's in metal. It's in all of them. P. Diddy just won. There's a bunch of dudes like that. There's a bunch of dudes that are, when you look at the top, when you look at who's controlling Diddy, like that's like, Suge Knight. He's talking about it. Suge Knight saying, hey, it's Clive Davis, the one who's masterminding this. It's Lucian Grange. That's what Suge Knight says. I don't know if that's true. I don't know. That's what Suge Knight says. Maybe Suge Knight is full of shit. He's a criminal. I don't know. But what's up with Clive Davis and Lucian Grange, man? Like, what are they doing?
Well, people speculate that Clyde and Diddy actually had like a relationship that went like past music.
That's what Jaguar Wright says.
Yeah. A lot of people are touching on that.
I watch all those videos, those Jaguar Wright videos.
I saw her videos years ago, and I'm actually surprised. I only saw her recently pop back up on Instagram, but years ago I would watch her videos because she was one of the first people to talk about it. But then there would be random, like back in the day, it was just like a random guy who was like, I was a producer and his face was blacked out and P. Diddy said this and made me do this. And people would be like, this is so stupid. And then 2024, all this stuff comes out and it turns out very, very allegedly real stuff.
And what's crazy? What's crazy is for a while there, like early, 4 or 5 months ago, it was all over YouTube. It was just Diddy. And then now
it's gone.
That shit's gone, dog.
Yeah.
You know what I think? My theory is with the whole Diddy thing is the election's coming. And they needed a way to scare all celebrities to shut the fuck up. So they're gonna, maybe they said Diddy, you're going to jail, but we're gonna scare everybody because everybody that went, nobody's talking about Diddy. Even Ice Cube, the guy with the biggest balls, he was just on PBD, and they asked him what do you think about Diddy? He said, I ain't saying nothing. Like we good. I ain't saying.
Really?
Even Ice Cube, nobody is the only one to burying Diddy is Jaguar Wright and that Eugene Deal, his bodyguard and Jaguar Wright. They're the only two ones. They're the only two. And then the guys, the guy that the producer who's doing that lawsuit, I forget his name.
I forget what his name is, but he was the one that kind of sparked everything.
Him, and then there's Cassie and all that. But you know what? Nobody else is saying shit. Anytime someone brings up the party, they go, "Didn't you go to the party?" I go, "Yeah, I went to the party, but you know what? I left early. I left like at 8:30."
Yeah, they all keep saying
Everybody
that.
left early. Everybody
Yeah.
left early. Oh,
You know,
left
you
at
know,
8:30?
that's what got Cat Williams. That's when he started getting blackballed. He has that one bit where he said he went to Diddy's house and he walks by a room and he's like, "Did I just see a dude kissing another dude?"
Did he do that? Like how he did that as part of his act?
Yeah, he was on stage.
And how long ago was that in his act?
Oh, that was back when he
10
had the
years ago?
curl hair and he was running around, the huge belt buckle and jumping around and everything.
That's probably it, dog.
That's when
Yeah.
that's when it started. That's when his whole blackballing started.
Yeah. So, but you know what? All that shit's gone now.
Yeah,
All
yeah, it's
that-
done. It's
All
done.
the Diddy shit's gone. I mean, he's still not out of the woods because there's, every now and then, like a couple days ago, TMZ posted something, a new lawsuit. There's another chick
Yeah,
trying to
yeah.
get some money. But overall, the Diddy shit's going away. The only thing that will never go away is when people say no Diddy. You know what I mean? When you say something, that shit's forever. That shit's forever, right? The no Diddy. That's not going away. His
Oh,
lawsuits
God.
might go away. But shit.
No, but the stink of that is forever. That's done.
Yeah, but what's gonna happen? It seems, dude. I don't see any more shit
And
on YouTube no more. Like YouTube.
The only person who
scrubbed
really
that shit.
went hard, yeah, it's basically scrubbed. I mean, you won't see it randomly pop up. You'll have to search for it. But the only person I saw really go hard, I did a couple episodes on it. I think I did like 3, but Candace Owens did, like, she went really deep into the whole thing of the blackmail and this and that. She went really deep into what he is. And, Kanye West notoriously, well, before he went into, what people frame as this whole craziness that he went into, he was on a podcast that actually got taken down because it was on Diddy's network that he did this podcast. But he said Diddy's a Fed. He's like, he's a Fed.
Yeah.
He said it repeatedly. He's like, that guy is a Fed.
And then Kanye's not saying no more either.
Exactly.
Like, he's not saying nothing no more. Like, what's going on? Everything you hear about Kanye these days are about his new girlfriend being like half naked. Like, that's the only thing I hear about Kanye is he got some hot girl that looks like the Kardashian.
Kim. Yeah.
Looks like Kim. Tits hanging out, ass hanging out.
Yeah.
And
That's it.
I thought he was Jesus. I don't know. So I don't know what's going on. He was in the All Jesus, and I don't know.
Like, I don't know if you have to go or anything, but I wanted to ask you about UFOs. What do you think about all this disclosure stuff that's going on right now? All these
Blue
guys.
I think
right?
It's all Project Blue. They push alien so much. Anytime you have a whistleblower from the Pentagon talk about aliens, that's millions of views. They don't censor that. They don't censor whistleblowers talking about aliens. So it's bull. It's all about one world government. It's all about globalism. And the number one thing that'll usher us into a new world order is a fake alien invasion. So that's what they're preparing. That's the last thing they're going to do is a fake alien invasion. They're scared to pull the trigger because everyone's going to call bull on it. But that's the last thing, a fake alien invasion. That's why there's so many. They love space. They want everything space, because if you can't have aliens without space, and we can't have a fake alien invasion without fucking aliens. So we need fucking aliens, so we need space, and we're going to have a fake alien invasion. It's going to scare everybody. It's just like Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings. That's all it is. Lord of the Rings. You watch. What is it about? Lord of the Rings is all the castles. They all have to unite because there's the one common enemy, the fucking orcs or whatever they are. And if you don't agree, if you're a castle and like, we're not going to agree to that. What Lord of the Rings? You get killed. So Lord of the Rings is all, we all need to unite against the evil force. Otherwise, if you don't unite, then you're going to die. They're going to fucking take you out. So that Independence Day, it's all the same.
True.
I was like all in the aliens. They fake that the government is covering up aliens. They want you to think that. They're not stupid. These guys are smart. They know just like the PMRC and all the parental advisory on rap albums. They did that because they know the human condition. You don't think they know the human condition? You put a parental fucking advisory sticker, it's going to make the kids buy it. So they pretend.
True.
They pretend like they're trying to keep it from you, but they want you, just like the war against drugs. They want you on drugs. So you don't think these fucking Nazi scientists know the human condition? You
Yeah.
want someone to do something, you forbid it. That's what
Yeah.
you do.
Of
They're not
course.
that stupid. We're like, we want people to do it, so we're just going to promote it. They're not that dumb. They're fucking geniuses. They
Yeah,
know the
yeah.
human condition. Anytime you saw like, I wanted to see rated R movies. I didn't want to see PG 13. If a movie's a PG 13, I don't want to go see the PG movie. I want to see rated R, right?
Yeah, of
You want to
course.
see rated X. They
Yeah.
know the human condition. They're fucking with us. That's all it is.
You know what? Tucker Carlson, some other people have touched on it, talking about Tucker Carlson was talking about how he thinks they've been here the whole time and everything. I'm thinking in the combination with Project Bluebeam that this would be a good way for everybody to accept demons as a more intelligent race of beings that are here to help us. Right, because that's what everybody fantasizes about. It's either the aliens are going to come and destroy everything, or they're going to come and they're going to be the people, or the beings that are going to be like, this is how. Yeah, exactly. So it would actually be a good way if these were demons, and I do think demons are real, especially after the past, since Obama took office. You're starting to see the demons start to really mask off, especially with the woke crowd. I think demons are real, and I think this would be a good way for people to accept demons as their savior and as they're above.
I can see that. I can see that for sure. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I think it really is a battle between good and evil. And I think there are good entities and good people in the world, and I think there's a lot we are seeing people worshiping some satanic type of thing right now. We're seeing it. We're seeing it in Hollywood. We're seeing it in politics. We can actually see it. The last step would be to actually have whatever it is they worship come through, and then Project Bluebeam would be, because everybody knows what Project Bluebeam is. The technology exists now to put I guess a image of Christ on this demon, make it look Christ-like, if it can't do it itself, and then have everybody accept it. I think they'll do that same thing with Jesus as well. I think they can fool people by allowing some demon to come, making it look like Christ, and having some kind of second coming happen as well.
Yeah, man. There's Jesus Christ, Christianity, and the Bible, and there's people that they believe in the Bible, and then there's people that are like, oh no, the Bible is metaphors. It's based on Egyptology, and like I don't. It's hard to believe like what is real and what isn't. But like you said, the elite believe in Satan so much, and it's so obvious that there has to be a God. There has to be. I mean, why would they be so into Satan if there wasn't the opposite, a God?
Why, so into Satan, so into sacrifice, so into everybody having to bow down to it, so into giving up children to the altar of it. You see celebrities doing it constantly. Somehow Megan Fox has 3 kids who are all non-binary. How does that happen?
Crazy. Even Charlize Theron, same thing.
Yeah.
Like, how you guys having so many trans babies? Like, what the is going on?
And Charlize, hers are adopted. Isn't it crazy that she went to Africa and got pretty much the only 2 that would end up being trans?
Yo,
that's she's lucky.
Yeah,
it's luck.
Yeah. Like
Megan Fox said she knew when her kid was in the womb that they would be non-binary.
How crazy is she?
You know what I mean? And then she's talking about doing blood rituals with that MGK, her husband, boyfriend, whatever it is. They're talking about drinking each other's blood and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's either that or Trump. It's more of that or Trump.
Exactly. That's how we'll end this. It's like, you want that? We know 1,000,000% that side are demons. We don't know if we're being tricked with the other side, but I'm going to go with the other side You know, I'm gonna
I'm
go with
definitely gonna go with the
I'm
other
gonna go
side.
with Trump. It seems like billionaires are like Elon and Trump. They're like, what good is our billionaire status in a third world country? Because when you're a billionaire in a third world country, everyone's trying to kidnap you constantly, and you got to have machine guns around you at all times.
Third
You can't
world.
be a billionaire in a third world country. You got to have people with machine guns surrounding you at all times. What fun is that? If you're a billionaire in the United States when it's fucking prosperous, you don't have to have machine guns all around you at all time. You know,
And
So
also, if you're in a communist country as well, how are you going to be a billionaire? The first thing they're going to want to do is take away your money.
Exactly. So that's why I think Elon and Trump are standing up. I'm hoping. I mean, it could be all a trick. You know, people say, "Oh, they're shills. They're fucking."
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
they're at the Wailing Wall with their yarmulkes and they're buying the shills. Like that could be true. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know. Or it's all optics and there's a 5D chest and he's playing the game. I don't know, but one thing I do know for sure, 1,000,000%, the other side are demons. So I'm not going there. I'm gonna I'm gonna take a chance and go with the Trump side because we only have two choices. We have
Yeah.
Kamala or we have Trump. What are you gonna do? You gonna do Kamala? Like, what the are you gonna do? You have to go Trump. We have to take our chances. It could
Yeah.
be a trick. It could be a trick, but dude, we have no choice.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely.
Coach Colin, you're a bad motherfucker. I love you. I watch your videos every day, dude. I watch all your Keep doing what you're doing. How could my audience find you?
Oh man, I'm on YouTube. I'm on YouTube. I am Coach Colin. That's what the primary YouTube channel is called. That's where the Soul Not for Sale podcast is. And then I have another channel called Coach Colin Media. Colin has one L in it. It's also, you can find it all on Spotify as well, Apple as well, and that's it. And that's it, man. That's where you can find me,
Well, thank you very much for doing this, dude. We'll do it again. We'll do part 2 soon.
man.
Keep doing what you're doing, man. Thank you very much for everything.
Thank you so much, man. Much respect to you, sir.
Much respect to you, man. Have a good evening.